Thank you for coming. We have men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff, senior forward Chris Evans. We'll open with a general statement from Coach Senderoff about the opening weekend of practice this past weekend, and then open the floor for questions for either.
Well, we had 4 practices over the last 2 days. We went twice Saturday, twice Sunday. We'll be off today, and we put a lot of stuff in those 4 days. I mean, we've been fortunate that the new rules have allowed us to work with our guys during the summer a little bit, the ones that were here, but also work with our team twice a week during most of the month of September and October, leading up to Friday night, which is the official first day of practice. So we've been able to get some of the things in that we need to get in, but this weekend we really put a lot of new things in, some offensive sets, some defensive concepts, and we worked hard for 4 practices over 2 days. Take today off, and then tomorrow we'll watch some film from this weekend, try to get better through film, and then we'll get ready for the week ahead and start practicing some more.
When you say new stuff, is this completely new or just some of what you did last year that's just new for the season?
Both. I mean, we have some things conceptually, defensively, we're going to play the same way we've always played, which isn't going to change. But on the offensive end, with your personnel, you have to make some adjustments. So we have some things that we'll continue to do that we've always done when the shot clock winds down. We have, a series of things that we like to go to that won't change. But we have different personnel than we had last year. We're going to play, and I don't want to say we're going to play differently because that's not it, but we have different strengths and different things that we do well. So with that, there's some changes. Chris, last year, I'd say he split time at the 4 and at the 3, sometimes in the post and sometimes on the perimeter, maybe even more 4 than 3, probably. Would you agree with that, Chris? Probably more 4 than 3. He's playing strictly on the perimeter right now. And we have to do some things to take advantage of him probably being the biggest and most athletic perimeter player in the conference. So we have to find ways to post our wings, which we're doing, find ways to take advantage of different things this year than we did last year.
How tough it is to replace guys like Justin Mans, Justin Green, Perini, and Guyton, to fill that hole now?
Yeah, I had Todd look this up today, and and some of it is for me to make sure I stay patient with our team, because I expect us to be at a certain place. We're used to being at a certain place, and I'm just looking at this here. We return 27 points out of 70 points. We return 9.2 rebounds out of 34.5 rebounds a game. We return 2,200 minutes out of 6,700 minutes on the season. And then you take Randall out of the equation because Randall's not practicing right now. He's just doing things on the side. And without him, we return 21% of our points, 20% of our rebounds, 19% of our minutes. So I have to be patient with our guys, knowing that this is a process, okay? And Chris is our most experienced player out there in practice, and he's played 1 year at Kent State. So, you take Chris's 1 year, you take Mark Henniger's 2 years, which he hasn't played as many minutes as Chris did. You take Chris Brewer's 1 year. You take Dev Manley's 1 year where he played 98 minutes. That's it. That's all we return. So I have to be patient, and at the same time, I have to make sure that I'm demanding as far as what we need to get done and how we need to do things, because we play November 9th. Whether I could be as patient as I want, we're going to play that night, and we have to be ready for that.
That being said, with all the new guys, what are you seeing different that's going to allow you to do some different things with this group?
Yeah, I don't think it's different necessarily. We just have different pieces. There's nobody. Justin Green, we used to be able to throw it to him, for 3 straight years. The ball has gone into him 80% of the time in the half court, 70% of the time in the half court, whatever it may be. We're just a different team, and I don't want to say you get spoiled because that's not it. That's not the case. But you just get used to doing things and having a guy that could sort of bail you out because he could score on the post against just about anybody. Probably the best low post scorer to play here in the last 20 years. So, you just have different pieces, different pieces. Chris has expanded his game a great deal. He can post a little bit. He can drive. He's strong. The one thing I think I have noticed is some of these new guys have done a good job trying to get to the offensive glass. Guys like Khalid Spicer and Chris Ortiz and Melvin Tabb. When I watched the film, those guys have done a good job trying to offensive rebound. We don't have the truest of true point guards, and Mike Perini, for a lot of his faults that sometimes I know, sometimes I watch him, I put my, want to pull my hair out when he's doing some things in transition. He was a point guard. I mean, he was able to get guys shots. He had a pretty good feel. The guys that we have now with Bryson and Chris Brewer, who are playing that primarily, Kellen as well, they've got to develop into that a little bit. So it's a work in progress, but I'm optimistic for sure. I mean, I'm optimistic because I think we work really hard. I think our kids want to be good, and I think that we have a lot of guys that will fly around and play selflessly, which I think is important.
Do these guys collectively understand the schedule and whatever that? I mean, you got a program schedule that, a Kent State type of schedule that a team, expected to contend, expect all that, and this team, like you just said, with a lot of guys with 1 year of experience, may not be up to that. I mean, you can't tiptoe into the season.
No, we can't. We certainly can't tiptoe into the season. But I think that's more Chris, and maybe a little bit more for Chris to answer. Like, what do you think the guys, do they understand how?
I believe everybody's on board. Everybody's focused. They understand, like you said, the schedule and the competition, 9 in and 9 out. So I believe everybody will be ready.
And just to add a piggyback on that, I do think that, not having Randall at practice, to a degree, a lot of this is falling on Chris right now, the leadership, because he's the only senior practicing, and that's not easy. A couple years back, Rod was our only senior, but Rod had been in the program for 5 years, so he had been through a lot during his 5 years. Chris has been in the program 1 year, so I think we'll be ready. We'll be ready come November 9th to play. It'll be interesting. We play on October 27th in two weeks. You know what? For some of these guys, it's going to be eye-opening, I think, because it's not high school. It's not junior college. Chris wasn't a focal point of everybody last year. He's going to be a focal point of everybody this year, especially early on. And, you have to elevate. You have to elevate your game. And you have to be prepared, and you have to be ready to play every possession. And the biggest thing that I'm fighting with these guys right now, and this isn't a negative, this is just what we're working on right now, is playing the next play and not allowing a negative or a positive to affect you, because that would be the one thing that we have to get better at as a group, is just moving on to the next play.
Chris, what's it been like being the focal point of, during practice, and now the season coming up, you're going to be the focal point of all the team's defenses? What's that been like for you?
It's definitely a different experience. Like I said, like Coach Cindy said last year, being a role player and then being a upfront type of guy this year, it's a learning experience. You learn to take things and just move on and keep growing and try to show influence to the young guys.
Do you like it?
Oh, yeah.
What about playing the three? Are you a little more, is that more your game or something natural to you?
I would say, but like I said, this summer I really had to work on handling the ball and making better plays and decision making and making plays for other guys. So still learning with that.
Chris, Green was always the go-to guy down the paint last year. Then Perini, he showed so much emotion on every play he did. What can you take from those two leaders now that you and Randall are the two senior leaders?
Just compete every night compete every night, and like I said, show intensity and show the young guys how Kent State is played, and just keep showing them how to do things the right way.
Are you more comfortable on the wing, or do you prefer the post?
I mean, I like the wing, but if it comes down to it, I like the post. I mean, it causes problems for not only myself, but for the whole game, so.
The one thing about Chris is because of how big and strong he is, he's really gained weight in the weight room as well, strength in the weight room. He gets to the foul line and he shoots last year he shot 73%. And we're going to need him to get to the foul line. So, you have to take advantage of players' strengths and weaknesses and try to hide their weaknesses when you play. So I think one of his greatest strengths is the ability to get to the foul line, and we need him to do that. Offensive rebounding is one way to do that, which he should be great at. He was pretty good at it last year. And being able to either drive the ball from the mid-post or from the perimeter and using his strength, I think is going to be a key to our team's success.
How much weight did you put on this summer?
I think 15 pounds. I weigh like 220 now, so.
More important than the weight that he gained, you could tell him what were your reps in terms of your strength gains. Your 185 max went from 7 to what?
17 to now, so.
Which is unbelievable. I mean, it's along with the 15 pounds and the ball handling, he's gonna. You'll see a different person when you see him with his jersey on. He looks different. He's not the only one, but he looks different. Mark Henninger looks different too.
You guys are talking a lot about getting to the line. What's the tempo going to be like this year? You're a lot bigger than you've usually been, but probably more athletic also. So you guys are running a lot more.
We'll play. You know what? The offense is not an area that I'm really all that worried about. We'll find ways to score. We've led or been in the top half of the league in scoring for the last 15 years. I don't see that changing. We've scored in different ways each year or each era, so to speak, based upon your personnel. The key for us, we'll score our points. We'll get to the free throw line. We're going to have to rebound. That's going to be a huge key for our team. We're going to have to be a really good offensive rebounding team and defensive rebounding team, which we weren't a great defensive rebounding team last year. But that's something we really have to work on. The key for us as a team is going to be A, defending, especially in the half court, and B, playing the next play, is being able to show some maturity and play 40 minutes when things don't go well, and fighting through adversity.
What have you seen on Melvin so far?
Melvin, I'd say he's a work in progress. There's some things that you see that are you see some really, really positive things. The way he offensive rebounds, I think, is a strength. He actually is not, though. He's pretty good at when he catches it, seeing plays for other guys. He's got a pretty good basketball IQ, especially on the offensive end. He'll take charges. He's not afraid to give up his body. He's got to get, I say, in better shape. Some of it's mentally in better shape, where he just has to be able to play through fatigue better and play more consistently. In terms of, if we have a 10-minute segment, you got to play all 10 minutes hard, and he's just got to learn that. He's just got to learn that.
And then where are you at with Randall right now in terms of?
You know what? Yesterday was the first day Randall put a jersey on, which was positive. I was happy that he saw the doctor yesterday at, I think it was 3 o'clock. The doctor allowed him to start doing some shooting, some dummy offense. He's doing nothing live. I don't anticipate him doing anything live for the next couple weeks. He's running on a treadmill. They're going to increase what he does in the weight room to try to continue to strengthen his leg. The plan, and again, I hope this stays on target, but the plan is for him to play a little bit in our November 4th exhibition, and then he should be good to go when we play Drexel on the 9th. Now, that's assuming everything continues to progress. But every time he's seen the doctor, he's either on or ahead of schedule. Some of the stuff he's doing now, Trent our trainer, our head trainer, Trent Stratton, said that some of the stuff he was cleared to do starting last night is stuff that they weren't anticipating him being cleared to do for another week or so. So he's on target or ahead of target in terms of what he's been cleared to do and where he's at. So we do need him. I'm not going to pretend like we don't. So hopefully he'll be ready by the 9th.
Doing any lateral stuff?
He's starting that today. But those are things, again, I'm not 100%. I hear from Trent and from our trainer what he's doing. I know that yesterday he was cleared. There's a sliding board or something like that they do up in the training room. He was cleared to do that. He was cleared to shoot. He'd only been able to do free throws or set shooting up till yesterday. He's cleared to run on the court, which he was only cleared to run on a treadmill until yesterday. So he's progressing. He's on target. He's progressing. He feels great. But I think it's more than just how he feels. My understanding of it is he's going to feel a little bit better, but he still needs to make sure everything heals, has the proper amount of time to heal for him to be ready to go through the season.
Can you talk about what Bryson Pope brings to the table? I mean, he's a 6'6" guard, 220. That's big as some forwards in the max. So
Yeah.
Both of you just talk about what he brings.
You can start with that, Chris.
I believe he's going to cause a lot of matchup problems. He's big, he's strong, he has a lot of experience. I think he has probably the second most experience on the team overall behind Randall. So he's a positive type of guy. He's working on his leadership, so I believe he's going to play a key role for us.
Yeah, and just to add on to what Chris said, Bryson, it's funny because I a lot of times during the preseason and during our conditioning stuff, and he's in great shape, but even in the workouts, he sometimes would be frustrating because I'd expect more out of him. When we go live and when we've played as a group and as a team, he's done a really good job of being a leader, of sort of just showing that the thing I know about him, and I feel very confident about him, is that he won't get frazzled or rattled. He's obviously played 2 seasons in the Conference USA. He started 23 games on a pretty good team. They won 19 games, playing in big arenas, in hostile environments. The thing I notice about him through practice is I could yell at him, he's going to play the next play. He can screw up, he's going to play the next play. He's progressed nicely so far. And like you said, he's a 6'6" guard. He's strong, he's big, he's physical. When he gets going, when he gets ahead of steam going with the ball, he's hard to stop. So I think he's a guy that'll really help our team.
You said that you're worried about defense a little bit, and you said you might be playing some point. How's that going to affect you defensively then?
Well, you know what? There's positives. Just like if you have a small guard, there's things that there's some things that that can hurt you with. When you have a big guard, there's things that can hurt you with, but there's also things it can help you with. His length and his strength are going to be a positive. The other day, I know he led our team in rebounding both days. He led our team in rebounding, which from the guard spot, to be able to have a point guard, or a guy who can play the point, be a good defensive rebounder helps your transition. So there's things, again, and he'll have some things where, a quick water bug type point guard may bother him in some areas. Well, we got to find ways to, maybe post him up or find different ways to utilize him and allow his length and his strength to be advantages. I mean, that's part of what we do, is try to find ways to take advantage of what your players do well.
Coach, we have a question from the internet. Fan Mike Rush from Cleveland says, how are you and your staff using perceived lower expectations from the outside to motivate your young team?
You know what, I say it every day, I think. I think that, this team, to me, sort of epitomizes what our program's like and what it's about. Is we've always had guys here, as long as I've been here, and when we recruit, we talk about this a lot, is that we always have had guys with things to prove. And you can go on down the line, Chris Evans, Randall Holt, Melvin Tabb, Darren Goodson, Chris Brewer. You could go on down the line. Every guy in our roster has something to prove. The lower expectations, I don't, I don't blame any prognosticator for picking us 4th, 5th, wherever they pick us. I mean, that's fine. On our side, there's, you know, if you look at who guys return and go through the thing, I get it. I mean, it makes sense to pick us there, but you know, for us, that's got to be fuel to our fire, and so far, I think it has been. You know, we've played with some hunger, we've played with a lot of passion. You know, again, for us, the key isn't doing that on day 1 or day 2. It's doing that, you know, throughout the course of the season. And at some point, I don't know when it's going to be. I hope it's not early. I hope it's, you know, I hope it's later in the season. But at some point, there's going to be adversity, and it's how you respond to that adversity. You know, like Elton, I know you mentioned it. We open up and play 3 conference champions in our first 4 games, and we play 3 teams that are picked to win their league this year. Drexel's picked to win their league. I'm looking at the, you know, the ESPN forecast. Drexel's picked to be a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. Temple's picked to be an 8 seed in the NCAA tournament. Valparaiso's picked to be in the NCAA tournament. Princeton's picked to be in the NCAA tournament. Bucknell's picked to be in the NCAA tournament. You know, Xavier's Xavier. They're not going anywhere. They're going to be Xavier, just like Kent's going to be Kent. So we play a schedule where our guys are going to have to be ready every night, and you know, there's positives and negatives to that, but I think it'll prepare us for the conference season for sure.
Chris, can you answer a similar question? How do you and your teammates counter the outside expectations that are lower than what you probably want?
Like I said, just use it for motivation. Our guys know what we have to do. We know we have to prove something. So night in and night out, we're going to compete at a high level. And we're just going to get ready for the season and get ready to win.
Does having a schedule like that maybe motivate you a little bit more, because it is such bigger programs and big-time expectations and all that? It's almost like you can't not be up for the games.
But it's definitely motivating when you have 3 conference champions, 3 people that's predicted to win the tournament. So we know when we compete and we beat them, that's definitely setting the tone and letting people know that we are who we are and what we're about.
Other questions? Okay, thanks everyone for coming.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Right.